What's up, nerds? So, we just got a big news drop from Honkai Star Rail in the form of Misha's full kit has been released, and we also just got the light cone previews for every single light cone coming to us in Penacony. So let's take a look at these cones. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into these light cones. Now, we're going to go over every single one of these light cones, but we're not going to go over them like fully, like theory crafting every single one of them, because that would take way too long and it would be an unreasonable amount of time. But we are going to do that in the coming days. Now, this is Flames Afar. This is a Destruction light cone with, I don't know if you recognize this character, but this is Sam on the light cone. It is a Destruction light cone, so maybe that's a little bit of a nudge, nudge, wink, wink, little hint there. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. The Super Imposition 1 value says, when the cumulative HP loss of the wearer during a single attack exceeds 25% of their max HP, or if the amount of their own HP consumed at one time is greater than 25% of their max HP, it immediately heals the wearer for 15% of their max HP. At the same time, it increases the damage they deal by 25%, lasting for 2 turns, which is pretty darn good. This effect can only be triggered once every 3 turns, so there will be one off turn of effect with this light cone, and the effect can only be triggered once every 3 turns. I've noticed that the last pieces of media that we've gotten from Honkai Star Rail have been like very poorly grammarly made. Look at this, it's like there's a period here, the next word isn't capitalized, there's no space right here between turns and effect, so they've been kind of goofing up the, I guess, I don't know, translations or display of some of these, the light cones, or Misha's kit seemed very, very weirdly grammatically made. So just keep that in mind, that I think it's possible some of this could be a little goofy, but I think it's just small grammatical errors. Now, this light cone seems like it's probably going to be... Now, I don't really play Arlen, but am I wrong that this might be good on Arlen? Does he use 25% of his max HP? I'm not sure if that's the case or not. Otherwise, this might be a light cone that is a bit more niche, and not every Destruction character is going to be able to benefit off of this, because, you know, Jing Liu, for example, and Dan Hung and Bibitur Lune, they're not going to be able to use this. So this is going to be very specific to certain Destruction characters, and I think we're getting a little bit of a hint here that certain characters, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, are probably going to really like having this light cone, but not every Destruction character is going to fully be able to benefit from this. Like I said, we're not going to fully deep dive all of these right now. We'll get deeper into each light cone in the future. We're going to go over each one right now and deep dive them, like really deep dive them further along as the coming days go on. Now, this is a Hunt Path light cone. It is called Final Victor, and it has our boy, what's his face, adventuring here, with a gun held to his chest. I wonder who the person holding the gun to his chest is. With the hair color here, it kind of looks like Dr. Ratio. So I don't know what's going on there, but that's really interesting. And it increases the wearer's attack by 12% when the wearer lands a crit hit on enemies. It gains a stack of good fortune, stacking up to 4 times. Every stack of good fortune the wearer has will increase their crit damage by 8%. Good fortune will be removed at the end of the wearer's turn. So this is a pretty interesting effect, because it says every crit hit landed on enemies. So characters like, this is a hunt character, right? So it only works on characters that can either do multi-hit or hit more than one time in a turn. So like characters like, I believe it's characters like, I don't think Sela can even benefit from this. So this is a really interesting light cone, because it's only going to work on hunt characters that do multi-hit or hit more than one time in a turn. So only characters that, will interrupt their own turn with an extra action or have multiple actions in the same turn. So yeah, some of these are a little bit more niche, and I think that these are kind of like hints that future characters will probably benefit from these cones a whole lot, and not necessarily going to be super duper like best in slot for certain currently active characters. Now let's move on to the next light cone here. This is an Erudition light cone. and it's called the day the cosmos fell. And for such a dramatic and dark name, this is the most lighthearted light cone I could have ever possibly imagined being used. The day the cosmos fell. That is like dark as hell. And these are like really cute little dudes on here. These are all Ruin May's little creations. Oh man, look, classic anime trope, right? Like super dark stuff, but it's actually like using super duper goofy fun looking characters. Anyway, I'm yapping. It increases the wearer's attack by 16%. Booyah. When the wearer uses an attack and at least 2 attacked enemies have the corresponding weakness, the wearer's crit damage increases by 20% for 2 turns. So this is a little bit of a specific cone because, yes, Erudition characters have AoE effects, so they're definitely going to be able to hit more than 1 enemy at a time, but they need to have the corresponding weakness. So this is definitely one of those light cones you equip before going into a specific battle, because otherwise it's not going to necessarily work in every single like domain. Like you're not going to be able to like brute force through domains without the right weaknesses on enemies. So definitely something to consider. Under the right circumstances, this light cone actually looks pretty good. I'm not going to lie. You get that 16% static attack, and against the right corresponding weaknesses, you get, what is that? Crit damage increases by 20% for 2 turns. Yeah, pretty good. Because it says when the wearer uses an attack and at least 2 attacked enemies have the corresponding weakness, the wearer's crit damage increases by 20% for 2 turns. Yo, characters like Argenti, for example, can just spam their skill and keep this with a 100% uptime. That's pretty darn good. I'm not gonna lie. If you don't have, like, you know, for example, certain really good light cones for, let's say, Argenti, this might be a really good cone to be able to use, because this is, again, these are all super imposition 1 values, and I didn't mention this earlier, but all of these light cones are going to be available in the Forgotten Hall shop. So every single player can take these cones to super imposition 5 very, very easily. Now let's move forward. This is Dreamville Adventure. This is the Harmony light cone, and after the wearer uses their basic attack, skill, or ultimate, all allies gained Childishness, which increases allies' damage from the same ability type as the one used by the wearer by 12%. Childishness only takes effect for the most recent ability type the wearer used and cannot be stacked. This is a goofy one. I'm not exactly 100% sure how this works, to be honest. After the wearer uses either their basic attack, skill, or ultimate, all allies gain Childishness, which increases the allies' damage from the ability type. This from the same ability type as the one used by the wearer by 12%. So this is, I'm not going to lie. I think we're going to have to see this in action before we can fully understand how it's properly working. Ability type. So what I think this means is if you use a basic attack, then your allies will gain, 12% damage for their basic attack. And if your, support unit, your Harmony unit uses a skill, then the skill will be buffed until they use their next action. So basically, the way I'm viewing this is if your support that's using this light cone uses a basic attack, all your allies have a buff for their basic attack. If they use their skill, buff for their skill. If they use their ultimate, buff for their ultimate. At least that's the way I'm looking at it right now, but don't quote me on that in case, I'm a little bit wrong. Correct me in the comments on this one if you know more than me. I can be wrong sometimes, and let's be honest, I'm an idiot on the internet. So let's move on to the next light cone, which, man, the art on this light cone looks so cool. Look at that conniving smile on Sparkle there. Man, come on, you just know she's gonna be a villain somehow. You just know, or even just like do something bad. You know she's gonna do something bad in the game. It's just, look at her face, man. That conniving little smile. And the light cone is called Showtime. It's Showtime. And this is a Nihility light cone. And when the wearer inflicts a debuff on an enemy, it gains a stack of Trick. Yeah. Sparkle's gonna trick us. You can just, see it coming, and the writing's on the wall. Every stack of Trick increases the wearer's damage dealt by 6%, stacking up to 3 times. This effect lasts for 1 turn. When the wearer's effect hit rate is 80% or higher, it increases the attack by 20%. So you don't probably need to necessarily worry about your effect hit rate being too high, because a lot of Nihility characters are going to want their effect hit rate to be pretty high up. And the damage dealt will increase by 6%. That's already pretty good, stacking up to 3 times. So that's what, 12%, 18%. And this effect lasts for 1 turn. So that is only 1 turn, but I mean, for every stack. So when the wearer inflicts a debuff on the enemy, gains a stack of Trick. So this is only going to work on certain characters that can get all of these stacks active, because it only lasts for 1 turn. So consider that. If you have a Nihility character that can't gain all of these stacks on that 1 attack, it's not going to be worth using this Light Cone. And if you have a Nihility character that doesn't run high effect hit rate, it won't be worth running this Light Cone. So this is going to be a pretty specific one as well. Some of these light cones are a slightly niche, but this is a new set of light cones, so some characters in the future might benefit from having these light cones, some from the past as well, and this just gives us a lot of variety. The previous set of Forgotten Hall light cones were very generic and work on basically any character from that path. These ones are getting a little bit more niche, which means they'll probably be really, really good on the specific characters they are good on, and not necessarily the best light cone option for characters that can't necessarily run the cone, which is good. This means that it will work really well in the characters that it does work really well on, and then not necessarily for the others, which is fine. So let's move forward. Destiny's Threads for Woven, and this light cone has a very interesting art. We see Aventurine here on one little slide. We see Firefly here on one little slide, and in the background, not on a card, because these are all cards, we see Black Swan. And Black Swan has her tarot cards, so it does make sense as far as lore, because Black Swan has all the tarot cards, so you see all the characters on the cards, but you don't see her on a card. Now let's get to let's stop yapping. Let's start reading the cone. It increases the wearer's effect res by 12%, and for every 100 defense the wearer has, it increases the wearer's damage dealt by 0.8%, up to a maximum increase of 32%. So we have a DPS light cone for, well, it's not technically DPS. There's no DPS characters in the game, but you guys know what we mean when we say that. It's just faster to say it. But this is a damage light cone for preservation units. Hey, girl, Fu Xuan, I'm talking to you, girl. Shoot. And hey, we have a little bit of a hint here. Aventurine, over here on this card, he's going to be... Oh, wait, hold on, did I, hold on, wait, was it? Forget I said that. Moving forward. Hey, Editor Pancake here, and I just scared the bejesus out of myself by thinking that Aventurine wasn't publicly announced as a preservation character. He has been. I'm just being stupid here. It's been a long day. So Aventurine could benefit from using this light cone, and I think this is a hint for Aventurine. I have a feeling that he's going to benefit from using this light cone. Obviously, he's going to release with his own signature light cone, but this is probably a hint that he's going to be able to benefit from using this cone, which means we're going to get probably a damaging preservation unit, and that's pretty darn hype. Now back to the video. Yeah, so Fu Xuan might benefit from this, you know what I mean? Any other characters might benefit from this. You didn't hear that? Okay, let's move on. What is real? Abundance. It increases the wearer's break effect by 24%. After using their basic attack, it restores HP for the wearer by an amount equal to 2% of their max HP plus 800. I'm going to read that one again. It increases the wearer's break effect by 24%, and after using their basic attack, they restore HP for the wearer by an amount equal to 2% of their max HP plus 800. So this is an interesting one, because this restores the wearer's HP, not your ally's HP. This is an abundance light cone that runs some break effect. So we might be getting a little bit of a hint here, because we know that Gallagher is going to be an abundance character, and Gallagher is literally on this light cone. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. At least that's the way I'm looking at it right now, okay? I'm speculating based on the publicly available information that we literally have right in front of our faces right now, okay? So don't be upset about me for talking about something that's clearly being implied right now. So yeah, I have a feeling that he might have some break effect going on with his build, and this is interesting because after the wearer uses their basic attack, it restores HP for the wearer, not for the allies. So I think that's another hint for Gallagher's hint here, or sorry, Gallagher's kit here, which is pretty darn cool. Do we have any other light cones here? We do not. So stay tuned, because we will be going over like deep dives of these light cones and all of the characters that they will be working well on in the coming days. I'm sure that, you know, if you don't hear it from me, you'll be hearing it from other content creators as well. If this was interesting or informative in any way, shape, or form, consider leaving a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in patch 2.0. Peace out.